What if there are more stones out there?
Dun dun dun!
Whoa, foreshadowing.
Hold on a second. You're telling me that there's more than just one?
There might just be.
Were they banking on no one having seen any of the Marvel movies? They're like, it'll be a surprise.
Yeah, no one will know where this is going.
I also like that they were like, what should we build our card game major story around? They're like, what should we do? How about the Infinity Stones? Everyone's like, yeah, safe. Like, we're doing it. We're doing that one. Okay.
I mean, Red Skull is, like, honestly, I'm surprised he wasn't in the core set, because I feel like every Marvel game has Red Skull as, like, the intro villain. Marvel United does, Marvel Legendary does.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He's Red Skull in both of them, so I'm kind of quite surprised that he wasn't in the core set, but it is fitting that the first, like, major expansion was the Red Skull expansion. It's close enough to him being the first, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Good game?
Yeah, what'd you think about this one?
I thought it was a fine, like... This game always is you're kind of like swimming upstream against the current is kind of what it feels like. Sure. And so when the villain's abilities is mostly just like making the current a little faster, a little harder to swim against, which is what the extra scheme every turn kind of was. I don't know, it feels a little grindy, but yeah, it was fine.
If you didn't have ways to deal with all the thwarting and scheming, you'd just be in massive trouble.
We ended up being a pretty effective team for this because there were a lot of minions and I was good at taking those out, and there were a lot of schemes and you were good at dealing with those. Yeah. And also, I mean, we both ended up taking quite a few attacks, not having to really go to Alter Ego very often. Like your tankiness and then my like the pin particle healing got me through a lot too. So yeah, we had our bases covered pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it ended up being kind of a down to the wire, some dramatic moments at the end, which
it really was. It was never it was like the perfect balance of like, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't too hard.
Yeah,
it was definitely challenging. We had to think and coordinate
and you know, I say it felt a little grindy, maybe just because it was a never-ending slew of side schemes. But like we each drew through our deck once and change, which I think is about kind of the length the game tries to be, right? So it's not like it was an extraordinarily long number of rounds or anything. We did maybe play a little slowly, and we're a little slow to get started, which is why we're 2 hours and change into this stream. But,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, speaking of which, you told me you were aiming to head out around 3. I know we're a few minutes past that, so
that's all right.
You can
it's all good.
You can leave me anytime you need to.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm glad we finally beat this campaign.
Yeah, ready for the most hated campaign. Galaxy's Most Wanted. It's on the shelf back there.
Oh boy.
I feel like we gotta at least give it a try.
Oh yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking rather than let ourselves like suffer and get frustrated, probably something like if we lose twice, we'll just move on to the next one. Type approach to the campaign.
The question is, what heroes we want to be? Are we going to go for the thematic duos again?
I think we want to. I would like to be some of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters.
Okay.
Are there 2 others that team up that are not Groot and Rocket? Did Star-Lord and Gamora or anything have a team up?
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Like they could. I just don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, but we don't have to. We're not married to the available team up events, as we've said. They aren't even that great.
They really aren't.
So Rocket and Groot have the same problem that Ant-Man and the Wasp have.
Yep.
Does every duo that has a team up card for it have that problem? I assume it must.
I would
because they want you to have that ally so that you can play the team up card alone.
Right. Yeah.
If you wanted to, which I don't recommend, but you could. Yeah. It's weird. There's a lot of weird stuff.
It is a little odd. Yeah,
ultimately, I have fun. I have fun playing it, but there's a lot that I would change about it if I could.
Yeah, I would like to see. Like I have like War Machine, but like Iron Man came out in the base set, so it's like it'd be cool if they included an Iron Man and War Machine team up card. But it seems like they only do the team ups as long as they're released like right next to each other, like Ant-Man and Wasp, Rocket and Groot.
Interestingly, the latest, I don't even remember who it was. There was a preview. They did the announcement of a future pack in an article on the website, and it actually said that going forward, hero packs are coming out in pairs. Like I don't think it's more per year. I think it's just less frequent releases of pairs of packs. They're not packaged together, just released simultaneously.
Come out at the same time.
So probably I'm guessing the main thing driving that is like shipping, distribution, logistics costs, like that kind of thing. I don't actually think it's because that enables them to design them in a way that really has a big impact. But it probably does mean that future packs with team up cards there won't be like, well, one of them is out.
Sure.
At least, so that's an upside.
The other team up I can think of is Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Oh right. Oh no, those were separate packs, right?
Right. Yeah. But they interact with each other.
Yeah, and they probably have each other as allies in their required allies.
I'm sure they do.
At least, like, you could print those allies as aspect cards,
right,
so that you could put them in your deck to enable the team up, but don't have to have this issue. I don't know. Weird choice.
It's a little odd.
Yep.
It's a little odd.
Like, I've literally never. I've now played. I think because we lost a game, I've played 6 games with the Wasp.
Oh yeah.
We lost and retried. Was it Absorbing Man? I can't remember who. Maybe it was Zola.
Did we lose? I didn't even think we lost one. Did we?
I thought we lost one.
Check your campaign log there, bro.
I don't think because you play until you win, the losses don't get recorded. I
don't remember.
Maybe we didn't.
I'll take your word for it.
I thought we lost one along the way.
I thought we just smoked everyone.
But yeah, so that means that, like, the Wasp's signature ally, which is supposed to be a pretty cool card that you're excited about, I've never ever been able to play it.
Right, same.
It's the Ant-Man. I must have discarded it for a resource a second time this game. Yep.
Yeah, what is it? What do I do?
You are a pricey, a 4 resource cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, and while I'm in giant form, Ant-Man is considered giant and gets +1 attack, and while I'm in tiny form, Ant-Man is considered tiny and gets +1 thwart. So, okay, so he can thwart or attack for 3 basically, as long as you change forms.
That's pretty
to
good.
Coordinate with it. Yeah, it's I guess it's not overly
yours is similar.
Splashy. Yeah.
3/2/2. After Wasp enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy if I'm in giant form, or remove 2 threat from a scheme if I'm in tiny form. Okay, so
when it enters play. Okay.
When it enters play.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
They seem like strong allies. I guess I don't feel like I'm in the end having missed too much of like the way the deck works or anything for not having played it. But that is also kind of a gripe I have with the game. The cards feel pretty similar to one another. Like that, at their heart, every single ally card is a block of stats that all function quite similarly, and the numbers on the game are not so high that they they mostly have 1s and 2s on them, so there's not a huge variation between them. And then I would say probably the majority of allies, I can't back this up, but have like an interplay effect, and then are just stats that sit there.
Meat shields after that.
Yeah, and you use them all very similarly, where you like attack or thwart a couple times, then defend with their last hit
Wait
point.
till they get one right, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. And then the attack events, like, they keep putting out new ones that have slightly different combinations of costs and damage and stuff, but they there's just not a lot of design space for a lot of like splashy fun cards in this game. Seems like they're all pretty utilitarian. There's a lot of +1s, a lot of cards you put in play and they give you +1 to one of your stats. A lot of events that do some thwart or some damage and do usually +1 if you spent the right resource on them or something. Like,
yeah, I wonder if that changes.
Once
we get like later into stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. This is part of why I do feel fully fine buying just some of the packs and not others, is because I feel like the cards that I'm missing out on are just kind of variants of the cards I already have. They don't really do anything new.
Yeah, and I feel like these, because we played, I mean, Ant-Man and Wasp were later in but they were still year 1 cards. Maybe they were year 2.
They were. I think they came out following the Red Skull box, right?
Okay,
but I don't know whether on the calendar
close
year,
to year
but
1.
They were at this point in the game. They were like in the first half of it,
right?
Yeah.
But I was reading Spectrum, Monica Rambeau, and her whole thing is she's got 3 different forms that she can be in, and I was like, this is really interesting. Like, her powers read, it was super unique.
Yeah,
I was going to tell you, I was like, you should read this card because it's actually like not anything that they put in the game yet, which was like, it was
That's
crazy.
cool.
But then the Vision was kind of a similar thing too. It was like you could choose to be in phasing mode or high density mode. One of those 2 things. So I'm wondering if they're like getting through like the basic stuff to like get to the more weird.
Yeah, and I will say that the heroes do a good job of feeling pretty different and fresh. Like, Groot does something different than everyone else, where when he spends more time in alter ego form and builds up those growth counters, and they either prevent damage or are fuel for abilities. Right. Like I'm pretty happy with the heroes designs. I just then feel like they get filled with a deck of 50 cards that are kind of the same as everyone else's deck of 50 cards.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that there are players who disagree fairly heavily with that, but I don't know. As someone who's played a lot of different card games, like these
people seem to like love this game. Like not like it's a good game. Like love this game. Like you look on the Board Game Geek, it's in this game's already in like the top 30 of all time.
That's true.
Games.
Although it's not as high as Arkham, I don't think, on Board Game.
No, I don't think it is. But even still, it seems like I played this game quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I think it's good. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's incredible. I've played Arkham maybe 2 or 3 times, and I would probably acknowledge that's probably a better game.
Yeah.
Even though I hadn't played it nearly.
We should play more Arkham.
Yeah.
I'm always down to play Arkham.
Yeah. No, I know you are.
Yeah.
You are. You were super down. But I've played it just like a handful of times. I think it's a really great game. Mm-hmm. I wish it had more of like the thematic stuff in this game, but it's clearly they're not doing that for a reason. They've clearly decided they're doing this for this reason.
Yeah.
For whatever. I mean, I guess it serves a different audience for people that just want to like buy a hero, then keep running them up. I heard Green Goblin's pretty fun to play against, so we could play. Against...
I have that pack and actually haven't. No, I played it once. I played it back at a Strategicon once. I must have. I think maybe I even bought it in the dealer room there, and we played it. And I think we went straight to Expert because the core set standard mode is all pretty easy. I think we went straight to Expert and got our butts kicked by Green Goblin. I think that's the only time I've played him. So, we could take a break from the campaigns and play Green Goblin and the Hood next time we. Next time we play, I'd like to play the Hood. And the Hood, I guess, I brought the pack into this room. Is it in?
It's right there.
Arm's reach.
Imperial Assault.
Apparently, and I'm kind of excited for this. Apparently, the Hood comes with an alternate set of like the standard encounter.
Oh no way!
Which I think means a variant on it, not just another copy of it. Which I wouldn't mind another copy too, just to have to have that. But I think that was advertised as being in here. I don't even know what it would be called. Just Standard 2? Standard B?
Standard V2.
Oh, yeah. I see Expert 2. Is there also Standard? Yeah. Let's see.
Let me see what old Carter does. Carter Robbins?
Is that the Hood's name?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, you were telling... It was off camera, right? That you were telling me...
Yeah.
You read some The Hood comics in anticipation for this pack.
Yeah.
And then haven't played the pack?
I was like, why, of all the villains they could put, why this dude I'd never even heard of? And then I read it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. He's cool.
The
Brothers Grimm.
What? Okay, first of all, so yes, there's a set called Standard 2.
Okay.
The reason I said what is because the very first card in the Standard 2 set says Expert Mode only, and so I don't know why it's not just in the Expert 2 set.
Is there a Expert Mode of the villain that's different from the No, that wouldn't make sense.
No, if you play on Expert difficulty, you use like stage 2 and 3 of the villain,
right?
And you use the Expert Encounter set. That's the difference, and then sometimes they have other specific differences, but very weird to put something in the standard set saying Expert Mode only. Anyway, it is a permanent card that makes the enemy it makes all enemies steady, so they require 2 status cards of the same type to be stunned or confused.
Oh wow!
Like you have to stack up 2 cards on them. So yeah, that's weird. That's a weird to be a standard effect. So it's like if you play on Expert with the alternate sets, this just happens every game. Each enemy is steady. Oh, and it accelerates the... Wow. This seems really challenging.
Yeah, that's tough.
Dark Dealings. When revealed, the villain schemes with +1 scheme. Oh, so it's just a little tougher than the villain schemes standard card. Oh, these seem... find a minion from the deck and place it. Engage with you. Discard the highest cost upgrader support you control. So these are actually... and then there's still Shadow of the Past here. So these standard cards, the one that says the villain attacks you, it gives the attack overkill and this card surges. Geez. Okay, so these are just they correspond with the original standard cards. They're just harder. So it's like...
So you don't replace them, you don't replace the original, or you do replace
You do replace them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's actually... Okay. Damn, that's actually not what I hoped for. I actually thought I wanted this to be a variant that was of roughly equal difficulty that you could use for variety's sake.
Oh, I see.
Instead, this is just like
harder mode.
We took all the same cards and leveled them up +1.
Yeah.
More +1s, which is fine. I mean, it's nice to have if you want another difficulty lever. It already kind of has difficulty levers in the are you playing expert or not, and then the modular encounter sets are not all created equal, so you can choose more difficult ones of those. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of weird to get, and then if you're playing campaign, expert campaign is a difficulty lever. Mm-hmm. So now there's a 4th lever. That's a lot. That's all. So I can be like, I'm gonna play standard 2 non-expert difficulty expert campaign with a medium modular encounter. Very.
I saw like a month ago there was also a fan made like campaign mode that someone made for this game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
People have done that with Legendary also that I've heard good things about.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun to try out too. Yeah. I don't know how good it is, but I was interested when I was reading like what it was, where some guy like designed clearly a more thought out, intricate upgrade system campaign thing for this. Or I was like, oh cool.
Does it well maybe I haven't looked at it closely enough. I'm curious whether this guy created new cards like that are print and play, and you use those if you obtain upgrades and that kind of thing, or if he managed to do it with all existing content.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting behind fan made stuff when it comes to card games.
I do too, with the exception of like I love what Nisei has done keeping Netrunner alive and going. That's technically fan made, but
that seems to be the exception.
Very well designed and organized and supported.
Yeah.
And very well received. Lots of people are still playing Netrunner and playing those cards.
Yeah. That definitely seems to be the exception of. I've seen that as well, where I'm like, oh, this one, everyone's on board with like, no, this is.
Yeah.
And if the game's dead, like that changes it too. Like if
right.
they stop supporting a game, and other people are like, well, we're the hardest of hardcores, and here's how we're going to evolve the game. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think. In the official, in FFG's hands, Netrunner made enough missteps that another group of fans but competent card gamers, maybe established game designers. I'm actually not sure whether the people designing those sets have other game design experience or not. It feels like they do because they're really well done. But anyway. There's no reason that would be any worse than it was under FFG, because it's a great game system that had they didn't nail it when it came to card design and everything.
I don't understand. This is maybe this is where I differ from others. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why you can't take Netrunner and just make it digital. Like why not just put this thing digital? You aren't going to keep supporting it, so enough people like it, just make it fucking digital.
I wouldn't be interested in that. I think Netrunner's only fun face-to-face. There's so much bluffing and, honestly, trash talk and stuff that is a big part of why the game's fun. That
I have not played it enough to I believe you. Yeah. I believe you. But I always find myself wanting to play Netrunner at random times, and I can't teach it to anyone because it's complicated-ish for someone. Because
there is, Jinteki.net is a fan-made and probably technically illegal, but way to play it online.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is, especially during COVID, my understanding is it's the way pretty much everyone played it.
Well-polished Fantasy Flight endorsed. Maybe if it's not for Netrunner, it's for. They did it for the Lord of the Rings card game.
Yeah, that was bad though. But
sure, but even for Marvel Champions or something, they could handle the rules and do some of the math.
And actually, I think the Lord of the I do think that the odds of them doing more digital card games was lowered by the Lord of the Rings card game flopping. But I think that the Lord of the Rings card game they made would have been better received and been a better game if it had literally just been a digital, like the Gloomhaven app, for example. If it had just been digitizing that game,
right?
Because that game has its issues, but it's good, it's fine, and they could even that game has some issues like. There are cards in the core set that are just overpowered, and so you basically have to put them into every deck, and the encounters have to be tuned against that. It has balance issues. They could have even changed things like that, but kept the heart of the game the same. Instead, they made it they took a lot of Hearthstone influence, both in how it plays and in its UI and stuff. Which, by all means, use Hearthstone's UI. That's great, but I don't know. They turned it into something completely different and made all new cards, all new scenarios, all new everything for it, and it just wasn't nearly as good. Uh-huh. It wasn't very good at all. And yeah,
I just want the replica version of the tabletop because I think the problem is when they get these like digital. It's what happened with Hearthstone that ruined it for me. So they kept changing everything constantly. It was like the values and cost, and it's like, oh, we got to rebalance this now. Now Magic the Gathering has started doing that.
That's funny that Magic is doing that.
It's insane to me
for a game that still, I assume, still makes the majority of its money on paper. The fact that now in the online version they're doing balance changes and stuff.
Yes,
and yes, it's in a separate format, but I assume that they would love that to become the main online format.
Absolutely,
right?
they would love to.
Because they
very much felt like a testing the waters. Yeah. Oh, Hearthstone done it. It's like no, don't take the one thing from Hearthstone being the balance.
That's interesting because I actually think that in general, people think that Hearthstone is way better in recent years because they're more. They didn't used to make balance changes. They used to treat them like they were physical cards that they couldn't change, and they changed their mind on that, and it's generally considered to have improved the game a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's it. I haven't actually really heard your opinion of your anti-opinion on it almost ever.
It just annoyed me because it always felt like they would release a couple cards and it'd be like, oh yeah, this one's clearly broken, but like we can just a month from now we'll nerf it. Kind of thing. Like, I don't. There was something that felt like lazy and like you didn't think things through enough. That I think when you do the paper, where it's like you better lock in your answer.
There's two sides of the coin there, where you could look at it as lazy, but you could also look at it as having the toolkit to make changes allows you to kind of take bigger risks and maybe make more interesting or more or push the power level on certain cards in a way that you just wouldn't try if you couldn't change it, the game could end up better and more interesting for that.
It's just I never have seen, because it doesn't exist, any online game that has ever been like balance. We did it.
Yeah,
we've got it.
It doesn't exist.
We balanced it perfectly. So if you're always like, tinkering and changing and upping and downing and stuff like that, then it's like, okay, well then that's just what you have to get used to. So that's what it made me. When I left Hearthstone, got into Magic, so I was like, great. Here's a game that if they're gonna change a card, they just ban it. Outright, which was annoying in its own right, but it wasn't like rampant or anything like that. But now it seems like they're getting more into the Hearthstone way of doing things.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's actually like, I don't know. I think that the Magic's Alchemy thing is too recent to be part of the reason for this, but it seems like Magic Arena has been floundering a little bit lately. Like at least its Twitch viewership is way down.
Is it?
Right? Like so I can. It's crazy because Magic is, I mean, on the whole, the bigger game than Hearthstone, right? Like, it has a lot of built-in fans and stuff, and it has some very popular names that play it, a lot of, like, established pro players who could or are streaming it. But you look on Twitch, and Hearthstone regularly has, like, 40,000 viewers, and Magic has 5,000, which is pretty wild. And I assume that correlates some to playing it. If anything, like I watch a lot of Hearthstone streams more than other video games that I play. I also watch streams of it because it correlates to like I'm learning and I can play better because in addition to it being an interesting personality and something to do while I'm like half-heartedly working or something, right? I can get better at it and I can learn new decks and fine-tune my understanding of the game. Whereas watching someone play League of Legends somewhat can make me better at League of Legends, but it doesn't improve my reflexes or other games. So I think that card games are great Twitch material.
They are.
And the fact that Magic, with all those things going for it, its popularity, it has big names built in, card games are great on Twitch. Like, it's not a high view count game on Twitch, I think is indicative that it's not
it's never been that high on Twitch. I think it's just because Hearthstone is easier to like track and like watch because it's
maybe
Hearthstone Digital has been around much longer than Magic Digital, at least Magic Arena. So it's always had a head start on, and there were like a lot of huge streamers like Disguised Toast and Kriparian and Kibler, like that, and Trump SC, like all those guys are huge. Hearthstone streamers. There's like no huge Magic streamers or anything like that. Like they were all, and any of the ones that were like paper Magic that are like fooling around with getting on Twitch. So it's tough to say, but like visually, it's easier to track Hearthstone. I think because it's like not as much going on, and like you can see everything. You can see everything with like the stats on the board. You've got attack, you've got defend. Where Magic is like, Yeah, I know this guy is like this little dude here, but look at all the shit that he does.
That's true, but people who are into Magic know the text of every card if you just say its name. Like, you know.
Sure.
And I'm that way with Hearthstone for the most part, too. Although I feel like with Hearthstone, maybe it's because the cards, when they're on the board, don't have their name showing and stuff. I have a harder time learning Hearthstone names than I used to with Magic card names.
Oh, really?
Like, I can remember... that's the 3/4 that with the keyword corrupt and it shuffles 2 soul shards in my deck when I play it. But what's the name of it? I don't know. You could show me the art and I can tell you it's a 3/4 that does
guy.
that. But what's the it's some kind of merchant. The flavor of the card. They even and in Hearthstone more, and this is part of Hearthstone's charm. Magic, it does this a little bit with its legendary cards, but Hearthstone, like every card is voiced. Right, like cards have personalities, and that is part of what makes it fun to play and watch. And like
that's true.
Magic's production value, I think, is not as good as Hearthstone's.
Magic Arenas, if you're a free-to-play player, it is like so much of a kinder economy than Hearthstone's. Like,
really?
I think so. Yeah.
I've played a decent amount of Magic Arena and not found.
Oh, really?
Although I've also spent money on Hearthstone, so I can't really compare. But
I was shocked by how much I got just playing for free in Magic Arena. I was getting like decks on decks on decks on decks. And I was like, man, this is like...
That's true. It does give you a lot of pre-constructed decks, which Hearthstone doesn't do as much of, which is great.
But there's also way more cards in Magic in a set. There's like 250 cards.
So many cards, and then 4 of per deck makes it so, like, in Hearthstone, when you open a legendary card, you have a playset of that card now, right? And because you can only run one.
And it's a good card. Normally out of... Again, this was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was like... If there were how many legendaries in a set, 16, 20 or something like that, like 4 of them were worth a shit.
Yeah, I think it's higher now, but still, it's.
But it was like, it was pretty annoying.
Maybe half of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, how many? Half of the legend. There's about 25 legendaries per set, I think, in Hearthstone. So if half of them are good, that's about 12. That would mean. With 6 sets in standard, because they have 2 years worth of 3 expansions per year in their like standard format, that would if half of legendaries are good, that would mean there are 72 good legendaries in the meta, which actually sounds hard to be a reality. So they're probably not half good.
I guess I can't judge Hearthstone because I stopped playing like 8 months before they rotated the core set cards out.
That was a good change. Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
Because obviously there were a lot of those cards that were like, okay, I'm a paladin. I know what's going to go in my paladin deck. Like, these 5 cards have to be in every paladin
It still
deck.
has a core set. They just redesigned it and now are redesigning it every year at the start of each year and giving it away for free. So each year's core set can have new cards and stuff in it, and just everyone gets it for free. Period. Which is cool. And if you I can't remember what it's tied to. It has an achievement system now, and if you have certain achievements, I can't remember if it's tied to your collection or your number. I think it's number of wins. But you even can, like, I have the full core set in gold, like for free because I'm an established player with like but it's completely
look at
free,
you
and completely free to play, earnable. Like even the gold core set is free. That has been.
Do people ever just immediately concede when they see your all gold core set? Sometimes.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
well, you'll get there.
They concede when they see my great plays across the first couple turns, but yeah.
I like to point out we have more people watching us now. This bullshit about Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering than we did in our epic
we were playing
Marvel Champions.
Yeah. This has been a good conversation. What I've been doing when we stream Arkham sometimes is we tend to debrief about the scenario in our decks and like talk for like 30 minutes. And what I started doing for YouTube was putting that up as a separate video, calling it like the post game. I might do that with this one.
Oh, that's funny.
I will say, I'll just say this on the air. You've been kind of tapping the table. You talk with your hands, tapping the table a lot, and I wonder how that will be for
Indeed I do.
Being that listenable a conversation.
Listeners, does this pick up real bad?
To me, it's not annoying, but to the microphone sometimes it can be. So well.
That's how I thin people out of the room. I boot them out by giving them little love taps.
Yeah, that must be it.
Why would I do that? I don't know. That's for me to figure out.
All right. Well, now that we're getting meta and just talking about the fact that we're talking, maybe we call it an afternoon.
Thanks for having me over. This was fun.
My pleasure. Yeah. Thank you for playing the whole campaign with me.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it soon.
One day.
Although we were looking forward more to a couple other like villain packs than to the next campaign, so maybe we'll play those next.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
A little break from campaign, which would let us I was kind of thinking going into this, I was like, I don't play this game a lot. So I have definitely played this one character like more than I normally would. I would probably not play the same hero for 5 or 6 games just because I don't play that much. So I probably want to get to some of the other stuff I own and haven't really played. So that's almost kind of a downside of the campaign to me is like, yes, if I was playing this so much that I was knocking out a campaign every other weekend or something and still getting to a lot of characters.
In Arkham, do your cards change out? Because I do have a similar thing where it's like, okay, I know the exact cards I'm going to have every single time, and they don't always play the same way, but like it sometimes does. So like, does Arkham have that where you don't feel like, ooh, I've got new stuff in my deck. I don't know how I'm going to play this time, or is it basically the same thing where it's like, no, I kind of know how my guy's going to play out.
It's similar. I think the Arkham scenarios are way more varied than the scenarios in this game, so it challenges your deck in a wider variety of ways.
That's fair.
But then also in Arkham, assuming you're playing a campaign in Arkham, you are leveling up your deck and changing it every time in a way that makes you generally have a new card that you're excited to use, at least. Even if it's not like, oh, my deck is all new. At least it's like, oh, I finally got that level 5 card. I can't wait to draw it. And they, depending on what you like, I mean, it's up to you. So you can spend your experience in Arkham on incremental upgrades for like new, because some of the cards you can buy with your experience have the same card name, and so can't go in the same deck as your maximum number of copies of the original, and they're just a better version. And then other cards are this brand new wacky thing that you just literally, there is no version of it that can go in your low level deck. You can only get it that way. Those are the funnest to add in and have that be showing up in your games. But yeah, like all of a sudden you have all this experience, and now instead of, so it's this is a card I haven't played yet, but I want to in my next deck. I don't think you've played any of the Innsmouth Arkham cycle, but it added curses and blesses, which all the Arkham games eventually have some kind of curse and bless mechanic. In Arkham, that manifested with you put curse and bless tokens into the chaos bag and draw them, and they are like +2 or -2 respectively, and then draw another token. And then there's lots of cards that interact with them. Like if you have at least 5 curses in the bag, this card turns on or whatever.
Oh wow.
But there's a card for the rogue class in Arkham that just whenever you draw a curse or bless, ignore what it is and flip a coin to decide what it was. And so you can
screw all that.
So you can put a bunch of curses into the bag, and usually you're adding the scenarios actually were very light in how much they use curses and blesses. It's more like you play cards that give you tons of money and also put a lot of curses in the bag, so you get upside in exchange for curses in the bag. But so you can just put all those curses in the bag, and then half the time they bless you after all. It's
interesting.
Yeah. It's a way of approaching it that I'm eager to try. That's the kind of weird thing that, like, that is a card that would really once you can buy it, would really change the way the game plays out for you, and make your deck feel fresh with just one card changing. I feel like that. And I think it's flip a coin, heads treated as a bless, tails treated as a curse, but draw a card, or there's even a reward if you end up cursed by that card. I can't remember the name of it. It's like I think it's called the lucky coin with lucky in quotes. Something like that.
Is Lucky a person?
No. Oh. Lucky's just
lucky.
It's maybe not really lucky.
The bottom card of the encounter deck was the energy shield.
I forgot about that.
The experimental weapon from the first campaign.
Yep.
The one thing that tied everything together was the last card that we never saw.
The one through line.
It
wasn't the reality gem. That was like
no.
That was some half-hearted flavor text.
No, it was the experimental energy shield.
And Red Skull didn't even equip it in the end.
Didn't even know it existed.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to get this cleaned up and urgently get back to relaxing with the rest of my President's Day. So, thank you all, many fine people who are watching. I think I actually did put archives of our first few games on YouTube, and I don't know that I've put our last ones up there, but I'll probably get these all up on YouTube over the next few weeks, because I think we do good playthroughs of Marvel-ish. We sit here and kind of criticize the game too, but
that's okay.
That's fine, yeah.
Criticism just help them get them better.
Yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can join us at twitch.tv/optimalplay next time we go live, which is every Sunday afternoon, and also other random times like this Monday afternoon. So
Monday Scaries.
You can count on that. And if you're watching us live on Twitch right now, or in the Twitch VOD, youtube.com/optimalplay is actually where Optimal Play primarily lives is a YouTube channel. So follow us there and subscribe. YouTube, you subscribe. On Twitch, when you subscribe, that means you're spending money.
Different subscribe.
Yeah. Anyway, go to all of our pages and press all the buttons. You'll be fine. You won't regret it. What do we say about tapping on the table?
Sorry, everyone. Bye.
Bye.